Hello and welcome to another update episode. It's been a little while since my last one and I thought it was about time that I took you around the garden to show you what's been going on for the last few weeks or so. There has been a lot of ripening of peppers and a lot of new growth and also a few disasters, and we'll talk about all that during this video. Let's start off in the vegetable patch. We can see that there's been a little bit of damage here. There was a storm recently in the UK that ended up actually taking this whole archway down onto the ground, and I've had to jerry-rig a little bit of rope coming down to a pitchfork just to keep it upright for now, because it was still wobbling quite a bit and we've had some high winds. Luckily today it's a bit clearer. It did do quite a bit of damage to the vines. We can see a lot of the leaves are dead. That's partly because of the storm, but also partly because we are coming into autumn now, so that's bound to happen anyway. There's still some new growth coming through. We can see that there are some flowers still coming out and some younger ones here as well. So probably we'll still have a few more squashes coming through before the end of the season, but we already have had quite a few. We can see there some beautiful gem squashes over there as well. Absolutely love these things. Down here, I believe this is a summer squash. I'm not 100% sure, but this has come off the vine during the storm. Might need to have that for dinner tonight. And down here we have some patty pan squashes. There's white or cream things there. Our corn has taken quite a bit of damage during the storm. A lot of it has just completely been knocked over. So we can see here, that's all knocked down. We did manage to salvage some corn. We actually had some for dinner last night, and there are a few more that we can pick. But yeah, it did quite a number on the garden, unfortunately. So maybe a few stakes in the ground next time to help support the corn so that the wind doesn't just take it out again. Let's have a look at the back there. There are some lovely pumpkins, and it's the first time I've ever had pumpkins this big. It's so good. First one we'll look at is down here. I actually posted this up on Instagram about a month ago. This just came out of nowhere. I just noticed it one day. It seemed like the day before it wasn't there. And yeah, it's such a nice size. Look at that. And then about 3 or 4 days ago, I noticed that we have an even bigger one hiding over here. Look at this thing. This is probably twice the size of that other one. And it looks like it's still growing. That one there is quite a dark orange. It's pretty ripe. This one here is still ripening. It's still quite a pale color, but that's huge. Must be at least 20, 30 pounds. We'll weigh it at the end of the season, but that is awesome. That's just what I wanted. I wanted to try and grow a giant pumpkin. And that's it from this veggie patch. Let's go have a look at the other one in the corner of the garden and see what's going on there. So here's the veggie patch that doesn't get as much sunlight as the other one, but still quite a lot of growth, and we have had some squashes off it. You can see that at the back there is a gem squash, and down here we have some patty pan squashes. Pretty big patty pan squashes. They're not meant to actually grow that big. You're meant to pick them before they get that big. We've got some runner beans over here. Not too many this season, but at least we have got a few, so that's nice to see. And I just love the flowers when they are fully flowering. These bright red flowers pop up. They are so beautiful. And also, if you watched a recent video of mine where I made a sauce, you'll know I picked some apples off here. And we have something else growing in this tree now. We have some gem squashes growing in the apple tree. It seems to have really taken over the apple tree. You can see there's a couple just growing off here. The actual root of this is down there in that raised bed over there, so it really has stretched across. You can see some new flowers popping up from the squashes over there, and obviously this gem squash there. I think there'll be a few more coming through as well. They are very good at hiding, but yeah, I don't think it's damaging the apple tree. It's just using it as a support. I'm not too fussed about it, but it was quite funny when my wife pointed out that we have gem squashes growing in our apple tree. So that's this little patch over here, which is actually doing pretty well considering it doesn't really get sun all day long. You can see like now it's pretty early in the morning and there's no sun on here yet. Let's go have a look inside the greenhouse. It's looking good in here. There is a heck of a lot of growth. The plants are all reaching up to the ceiling, and they're looking lovely and green and lush. We've had a few issues in here, which I'll show you, but ultimately it's looking all right. I think, I'd have to look back at my old videos, but I think I'm probably about 3 weeks to 4 weeks behind where I was this time of year last year. And I think it's down to the climate. I've been monitoring the average temperatures inside and outside the greenhouse, and last year was warmer than it is this year. So I think that's playing a big part in the lack of growth that I'm seeing here compared to last year. But I guess I shouldn't complain. I've still got some big plants, and we've got quite a few ripening. So let's start over here. We're not going to go through every plant as always. We're just going to go through a few that look interesting. And here we have some jalapenos, which I'm looking forward to picking. We're going to be having some of those tonight. I want to have them stuffed with cream cheese and wrapped in bacon. So I'll link up above a video where I'll show you how I do that. It's pretty straightforward really. You just stick a bunch of cream cheese in and wrap it with bacon. I wanted to point out this plant here. This is one of my 7-pot Primos. I came in here, it was about 2 weeks ago. I've left this here just so you can see what's happened. This here seems to have been eaten by some sort of slug or snail or something. It had just fallen over. It's a bit strange. You can see that it's all dead. The root system seems fine, so I don't think it's the root system dying. I think literally something was eating around the base over there and ended up making this fall over, which is very disappointing. Over here we have my other 7-pot Primos, and thankfully they're doing a lot better than that one that has just died. And we even have an isolated pepper over here. You can see that this year I'm using some blue string instead of the green string I was using last year, because green string's a bit stupid to use to mark your plants because everything's green, so finding it is a bit of a mission. Got a few more coming through. I believe that one has pollinated, so that should be another nice isolated pepper we can grab the seeds from. And these are still just starting out. So we have two 7-pot Primos. This one's a marugula, but we have another marugula there. There's a 7-pot Primo at the back. So it's these two over here, 7-pot Primos, and no ripe peppers on them yet. Not a lot of peppers actually at all. They really have taken their time. We've got a few that have developed, but a bit smaller than this one over here that we've marked off. But at least we'll have a few peppers to try on my Checking Out Chili series. Over here are our cayenne and peri peris, and something's been eating this plant. This plant really has not done very well during the season, and you can see there, I think that's left over from aphids. Again, normally at this time of year, the weather would be a lot hotter. We've actually had 2 weeks where the temperature inside the greenhouse hasn't really gone much above 20-25 degrees Celsius. Normally this time of year, it is much hotter than that in here. We're talking 40 degrees Celsius. And when it is that sort of temperature, aphids are not a problem because aphids can't really survive in that temperature and they all die. So this year has been a bit of a problem for that as well. Luckily, we still have a lot of fruit coming through. We can see these are my peri peri. Got quite a few of those and got quite a few peri peri plants actually. So I'll be able to make some lovely sauces with that. And I've been picking as well. There's been quite a few ripe peri peri coming through. So I have picked quite a lot. Over here we have some Antep ahidomas growing out of my hydroponics bed, which I built the other year. And back there we can see a massive one. It's about the size of my fist. And they're growing really well. A lot of them ripening up and a lot of new ones coming through as well. You can see these guys are really stretching out, but such a lovely pepper. That one over there will ripen pretty soon as well. So that plant's doing really nicely. Another plant that's doing really well is my serrano. So this is the first year that I've grown serrano, which I've mentioned a few times in these update videos, which has surprised quite a few people, but it's not a very common pepper as far as the UK goes. but it actually is quite impressive. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I'm looking forward to trying it. I have tried a green one on my live stream, actually, my last one, and that was pretty tasty, but really looking forward to trying one of these ripe ones. But this plant is doing really well. There's quite a few green ones. Depending on what I think of the flavor, it might be a good addition in the sauce. And back here we have some more piri piri, and we can see that the piri piri are still coming through green. There's quite a lot coming through. There's a lot of ripe ones as well. I've left a few to go a little bit overripe, but still got loads more coming through. We're going to have so many piri piri this year, and I'm still going to be doing a comparison between this one as well as my own piri piri that I've been growing for the last few years. So this is the one that I brought back from Mozambique, and we're going to compare that to the flavors of the one I've been growing for about 6-7 years now, actually. Talking of piri piri, these are my two that I've been doing the experiment with, the back guano piri piri in this plant. This one here is the Vermicompost, and like I mentioned in the last video that I talked about this, it's unlikely to be making any difference at this stage of growth. The nutrients would have all been used up from the small amount that I put in the beginning, but the back guano is still the bigger plant, just a little bit bigger. You can see there it's towering a little bit higher than this, but not a lot. We're still getting a few more ripe peppers, I think, on the one from the Vermicompost. I think that started ripening a little bit sooner, started putting out fruit a lot sooner. Not as many peppers on this one. There are some green ones. We'll see if it can actually catch up a bit later on in the season. You can see that that is infested with aphids. That is not good. I need to come and spray. Normally this time of year, like I was saying before, I don't have an aphid problem because of the heat, but that also means I don't normally spray neem oil or my mix that I've shown in previous videos. I don't spray it this time of year because I don't need to. But it looks like I'm going to need to, because that's not good. This is a beautiful plant. This is my Yaki Blue Fawn. And check out these peppers. They are just beautiful, lovely purple color. I wonder if it's going to ripen completely purple. The stems are a little bit purple. It seems like wherever the sun's hitting. So on the back side of these stems, it's actually green. And when I say backside, it's because the sun is coming in from that angle there. And we can see that the peppers seem to be kind of getting a tan. So where the sun's hitting it, there's this purple color. Behind it, green. So I wonder if it's going to go completely purple. We'll see. Let's have a look now at the ChilliChump Seedkit plants. So these are the 6 plants over here. You can keep up to date with what's going on with them on my website. I have a picture that posts up every morning to show the progress, so you can keep an eye on them. And let's have a look. The first one we'll look at is the cayenne or cayenne. You see loads of peppers coming through. These plants aren't growing as big as some of my others. I don't know what that is. I think it's just because they're under observation. Because I have this camera up there, maybe they don't like being watched, so they're being a bit shy. But we can have a look. They're not really as big as my other plants. I don't know if you can really make that out, but all the plants to the side, this is on the side here, and that's obviously that side there, they're bigger than these plants. Very strange. Anyway, we've got the cayenne putting out quite a few fruit, and it'll be interesting to try these ones compared to the ones I've been cultivating for the last couple of years. See if there's a difference in the flavor. We have our Ancho Poblano. Make sure that you are entering the competition if you are involved in this, if you want to be entered, that is. I have put up instructions on a video, and I'll try and link it above as well, so that you can know how to actually enter the competition. I'm not doing very well this year. That's a pretty ripe one, but tiny. There's another one over here. There's probably the bigger one that I have, but neither of these are as big as the one that I showed in the example video. So I'm sure that you guys can do a lot bigger ones than I'm showing here. So make sure you get entered. At the back there we have our ahi crystal. See them ripening up to red back there. That's a beautiful IE crystal. And there are a few more back there as well. Not a whole lot. Here we have one that's still turning, but they're doing all right. At the back there, this is such an interesting plant. Well, first things first, I seem to be growing something out of this. This compost this year has been awful. This is compost I bought in. It seems to have loads of seeds in them because I keep finding things growing that shouldn't be growing. But if we have a look at this plant, what is very interesting to me, and I did show it in the last video, this is my jalapeno Goliath, or mammoth, sorry, not Goliath. So that is a jalapeno. Firstly, it's not very big. I thought it was going to be bigger. But on the same plant, we have that thing growing. That is not a jalapeno. I have no idea what has happened here. So every other pepper on this plant is shaped like a jalapeno. You can see there, all of these are jalapenos, and that one over there, that's not a jalapeno. Very, very strange. Anyway, I think, actually, I don't know what to think. I really have no idea. Not seen that before. And then the last one in the ChilliChump Seedkit is at the back there, the turbo pube. Unfortunately, can't really see any peppers on this. I did see on Instagram somebody had tagged me, or tagged ChilliChump Seedkit, and I could see that their turbo pubes were doing quite well, but I can't see any coming through here, so I'm not having much luck. Let me know in the comments if you've had more luck with your turbo pubes. Very odd. And let's have a look across here, see if there's any more interesting peppers. There is at the back there the sweet apple canby, which I saw one hanging down the bottom here. Let me see if I can get to it. There we go. That's quite a beastie one, and that'll ripen to a nice red color, like you can see in the middle down there. These things can get quite large. We can see at the back there. These can get quite large. These are fairly small, actually. The one down there that I showed you was a bit bigger, but they are lovely tasting, beautiful tasting peppers. And one last one I'll show you here in the greenhouse is the ahi oro, because it's just such a pretty little pepper. That's this one over here. And it's quite a firm pepper. It's going to be rather sweet and rather spicy as well, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to trying that on an episode of Checking Out Chilies with ChilliChump. And that's it in here. Let's have a look at, well, actually before we go and have a look at something, I have a feeling that this might be getting similar treatment that my 7-pot Primo has got, or is it just falling over? I need to string that up. It seems like it's still okay down there. It's just gotten quite top heavy and it's pulled itself over to the side. So I need to string that up a bit more tighter, because at the moment that's not really holding it up. Anyway, let's go and have a look inside the Polytunnel. The Polytunnel is doing pretty amazing. I am 6'4", and these plants are almost as tall as me. So here, that's probably my head height, my eyesight sort of height, and that means it's about 6 foot, I guess. These are doing really nicely. And the ones on the sides, the ones in the pots, are actually catching up quite quickly. They are growing very nicely. The ones in the middle, of course, are still doing a lot better. They're a lot bushier and a lot more growth. But on the sides, they're actually doing pretty well. Well, some of them are still quite small, like down here. That's fairly small, but it's putting out a lot of fruit in comparison to the same plant over here. But one that I did want to point out, and again, I probably have to support this because this is getting really heavy, same as last year. These are my Hainan Yellow Lanterns. Beautiful size peppers. We have a few in the greenhouse, but they're about half the size of these at the moment. But these are just beautiful. Look at that, that is huge. So looking forward to making my sauce that I made last year again, because those are some beautiful, very spicy peppers. So these are looking really lovely. And if we look down the back there, we'll go around to the other side of the polytunnel. Those purple flowers are just stunning. You see there's like a blanket of them on the top of the canopy there. And we'll have a look at which plant is putting those out. But I love the purple flowers in these plants. Let's go have a look on the other side and see what's going on. So you can get a better view of those purple flowers. They really are beautiful. And loads of them. So I believe it's coming from this plant over here, which is my Ricotta Manzano. And it is just putting out loads and loads of flowers. Not a lot of fruit on it just yet, but that'll come. Obviously, flowers come first and then the fruit. And we should see quite a productive plant once these all pollinate. So that's just very, very pretty. We have some cayenne down here, which are looking really nice and healthy. Got quite a few down there actually. We can see lots and lots of ripe ones. I'm going to be picking quite a few of these today because there's a bit of a video I need to make with these, which should be interesting for you guys. Doing a bit of an experiment. We have some, we have a plant that's trying to take over here. Some vine. I have no idea. Again, this compost that I used is just awful. So many seeds and stuff in it. Never buying from that place again. Here we have loads and loads of peri peri coming through. This is again very productive. So that's it inside the polytunnel. Time now to go and have a look inside the grow shed and see what's going on with my crossed pepper, which is going to be quite surprising for you. And also have a look at my Mozambican peri peri, which had a little bit of a disaster happen to it. First things first, let's have a look at the crossed pepper, because this one here has really taken off. I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but my hydroponic system that I've built has been doing a fantastic job. This thing is just stunning. So we can see the size of it compared to what it looked like just, what is that, a month ago. The thing's just taken off massively. And we even have a lot of flowers. It's quite interesting. The flowers on this plant, the majority of them are this 5-petal sort of look. But there are a few that have been 6 petals and also 4 petals, which is not something typically that you'd see. So for example, this one over here, that has 4 petals. And I don't know if I can find one with 6 petals. I think the majority are 5, but yeah, there are a few that are different number of petals. So we'll see, they'll probably end up being 5 petals once we grow this out a few generations. But just, it's interesting to see that it can have different flowers on the same plant. But I think that's fairly typical when you are doing a cross like this. There are a few peppers starting off, so a few that have pollinated. That one over there, but no real indication of what they're going to look like properly once they are fully mature. I'm sure we'll have a few over the next couple of weeks. So by the next update video, you'll be able to see what these peppers are going to look like. I'm just as interested as I'm sure you are. But this plant is looking really healthy. I've had to keep moving this light further up, and the only way I could do it is kind of stretch it over here, because these plants, you can see once these leaves get too close to the light, it starts burning and not being very happy. So I had to try and figure out how to get that light higher. I'm probably going to end up having to prune this tree back a bit, this bush, so we can bring it down, because this tent is not very high and this plant is kind of reaching its limits. So I might do that over the next couple of weeks as well. You'll see the results in the next video. Let's now go have a look at the Moz Piri Piri plant and show you the mistake I made. So before I take you into the tent with the Moz Piri Piri, let me explain a little bit about what actually happened. In the last video, I made a comment about the plants. I assumed that it wasn't getting light to the bottom leaves, and that's why some of the leaves were dying off. And I ended up actually pruning the plant entirely back. You can see I've been saving the peppers from it, so I just hung them up over here, and I've taken the ones that I wanted, but these are the branches that I ended up snipping off. And what I did is I snipped that all off. I really cut it back. I'll show you a picture up on the screen now, and you can see just how sorry for itself it looked. But I found out it's nothing to do with the light. What actually had happened is my hydroponic system, my automation that I'd built, somehow I'd spilt some of the nutrients which have a lot of salt in. I'd spilt it on the device, and it completely rusted through some of the connections. So basically the plant was not getting any watering at all for about 3 weeks, which blows my mind that it was still kind of alive, and blows my mind even more when I show you what's going on inside the tent right now. But bear in mind, for 3 weeks this plant had no nutrients, no water coming up to its roots, because the pump wasn't switching on, because the automation was completely rusted through. Managed to fix all that, and let's go have a look and see how this is recovered. This just goes to show the resilience of chili plants, because my goodness, that thing just seems to have sprouted out of nowhere. All the leaves have come back and it's doing quite happily for itself. I have now done this to keep this out the way, so if I do spill on the ground or anything, then it's not going to hit that device and not make the same mistake I made before. But this has recovered so well. We have some new flowers coming through as well, but it just amazes me, after 3 weeks of not getting any nutrients, any water, it just bounced back so quickly. I was going to do a bit of a time lapse, but I couldn't find another time lapse camera. I don't know where I'd put it. I think Mrs. ChilliChump has packed it away to tidy things up, but you can still see just how much growth has happened since I cut it all back. It really is incredible. Thank you for joining me today while we take a look around my garden and see how things have been progressing over the last few weeks. I also wanted to say a big thank you to all of you who watch my videos and like them and subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot to me and helps keep me motivated to keep putting out these videos for you. Let me know in the comments below how your season is going. I still try and answer as many comments as I can. It gets a bit more difficult as I get more and more comments in my videos, but I still do my very best. I do read absolutely every comment that comes in, but I can't always answer every single one. So make sure you comment down below, because I am reading them. Thank you so much once again for watching, and until the next time, stay safe and stay spicy.